Hello everyone, my name is Carter Christopher and I'm here to talk about diversity. Now I'm not a diversity expert, I'm a geographer, but I know how incredibly important diversity is to a higher performing organization. And I know that a diversity of people, of voices, of opinions, and of perspectives makes for successful teams, makes for successful projects, and makes for successful outcomes. But I also know as a 15-year geospatial professional that our industry is challenged when it comes to diversity. And while I haven't seen any comprehensive or authoritative statistics on diversity and demographics in our industry, I know that most folks in the geospatial industry will acknowledge that both women and minorities are underrepresented. Now, with that being said, let's turn over to this amazing thing called OpenStreetMap. OpenStreetMap has more than 5 million registered users, has roughly 5,000 active users on an average day. And we have very little understanding of the demographics and diversity of the OpenStreetMap volunteer mapping community. Anecdotally, it's largely male, but beyond that, there haven't been any studies that I've been able to find. We perhaps can assume that it's a mirror of the demographics of the geospatial industry, and if so, that would lead us to believe that minorities are underrepresented in the OpenStreetMap user community as well. And one of the things we do know about the OpenStreetMap community is that volunteer mappers like to map their backyard. They may not all define their backyard the same way. Some, literally their backyard, others their block, and others their neighborhood or their city. But we all like to map what we know. Now, if we follow the logic that minorities are underrepresented in the geospatial industry, and the OSM user community is an approximate mirror of the geospatial industry, then we could infer that potentially predominantly minority areas within OpenStreetMap are undermapped. They could be less accurate, they could be less complete, less up-to-date, or less actively edited. So my proposal is, as an ethical geofellow, to do this analysis, to understand if predominantly minority areas are undermapped relative to their predominantly white neighbors. Now this is important for two fundamental reasons. Number one, if we can understand where and what minority areas are undermapped, we can target those areas in the real world. We can engage those communities. We can teach them the value of OpenStreetMap and of participatory mapping. Number two, we can plant the seed for the next generation of geographers. And by engaging those minority communities, we can potentially allow our industry to become a more diverse and more representative industry of the country that we live in. Thank you very much for your consideration.